Hello, this is the Unhinged Binge, a podcast you're listening to. I'm the person talking. Go. I rant a lot, and usually I rant about horror movies, but today I'm just doing something a little different. I'm talking about a movie I love, a movie that's near and dear to my heart because I'm insane, or one might go so far as to say, unhinged. It is an 80s sci-fi fantasy film, Krull. Came out in 1983. It was directed by Peter Yates. I do not know any other film he has directed. Just going over his filmography, looks like a bunch of stuff I'd never watch. It was written by Stanford Sherman, who also wrote Ice Pirates. Who doesn't love Ice Pirates? The film score is by James Horner, little known composer, did such films as Titanic, Aliens, Jumanji, Casper, Field of Dreams, Willow, Land Before Time, Commando, Perfect Storm, etc. Wish I'd taken a bigger breath before I started to say all those in one go. The cinematography is by Peter Schultzke. Did not say that right. He was the DP on Empire Strikes Back, so that's cool. Also, Dead Ringers, Naked Lunch, Mars Attacks, and Man in the Iron Mask. The film did not make back its budget in the theatrical run. I don't necessarily trust Box Office Mojo since it was purchased by IMDb, but just kind of going based on their estimations, this film for its time in 1983 had a huge budget and definitely didn't make it back. So that's unfortunate. And I don't think it's a cult classic. Like, I very rarely hear people talking about Krull. Not a lot of Krull merchandise or paraphernalia I see on people. Like you might really any John Carpenter film, for instance, in comparison. So that's kind of unfortunate because Krull is a pretty cool movie. I just personally first saw it, I think, when I was in high school. And I broke my brain trying to connect things that weren't connected. I was making a lot of logical leaps, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about it. So I watched it. I think I've seen it 7 times in all. 3 times just recently to write all this. So many notes. I'm ridiculous. But it really did take me to the 5th viewing to figure it out. And I felt so stupid when I did. It's just so obvious, but I'll get to that when I talk about the end. I'm going to go through the entire plot of the movie. I'll talk about the actors as I mention them in the plot because I don't want to overwhelm people with names. I like to read the tagline and the VHS description. It's just something I think is kind of cool. So the tagline is "A world light years beyond your imagination." And the VHS description I'm taking from the RCA Columbia Pictures home video release. I don't know how many different VHS or DVD releases there were, so that is specifically the description I'm reading. Journey into a mystical time and place that belongs to neither the past nor the present, where extraordinary creatures of myth work their incredible magic, and where a horrific, omnipotent beast is the ruler. This is the planet of Krull, and it all comes to life in this visually spectacular fantasy adventure. Prince Colwyn, Jane Marshall, sets out on a daring journey to rescue his young bride who was held captive by the beast. But players and alien beings under the command of the beast oppose him at every turn. Colwyn must first reach a faraway cavern to recover the legendary glaive, a key to phenomenal powers, then continue his search, witnessing sights and events beyond his wildest imagination. Facing the beast, Colwyn must use magic of the glaive to save his fantastic planet from annihilation. You know what? They did a good job and making this sound a lot more interesting than maybe it was. I do think this is an interesting movie. It is the best Dungeons and Dragons cinematic adaptation. I will not be taking questions. So Krull is a good guy versus bad guy 80s high fantasy adventure film. And it's got a lot of really good ideas that aren't really fleshed out enough for me, but this is before filmmakers really understood that people liked world building as much as they do. So I think most of this plot was it looks cool, so we put it in the movie. And sometimes, modern film watchers, I'm definitely one of those people where I try to apply reasoning and an inner textual logic to things, when sometimes the answer was as simple as, well, that looks cool, so we did that scene. And that's very much this movie. I do think this movie could stand to be remade as long as they don't do a gritty, serious reboot. This is one of those movies where it's good, and I really love this movie, but someone else could take a stab at it and do something really cool, really good with it. Okay, so we'll get into the film. Obviously, I'm going to be doing spoilers. The opening credits are pretty badass. They're that kind of like 80s chromatic, what would you call it? Like when it starts in one color and goes to a different color. Ombre kind of chromatic look. And we see this big rock thing flying through space to a planet, which we'll come to know as Krull, which has 2 suns and we'll leave it there. It's not paying homage to anything visually at all. Winks at camera. The rock has very smooth edges, which to me indicates that it's some intelligent design, so it's not just like a meteor or something. And this meteor-shaped thing that isn't a meteor lands in a desert-looking area. And we get narration. I'm going to read the whole narration. It took me a while to write it out. All right. Wow, I can read. I wrote this and can't read it. This is a tragedy. So this was given to me to know that many worlds have been enslaved by the beast and his army, the Slayers. And this too was given to me to know that the beast would come to our world, the world of Krull, and his black fortress would be seen in the land. The smoke of burning villages would darken the sky, and the cries of the dying echo through the desert valleys. But one thing I cannot know, whether the prophecy be true, that of a girl of ancient name shall become queen, that she shall choose a king, and that together they shall rule our world, and that their son shall rule the galaxy. Now, that prophecy regarding the girl with the ancient name and her chosen husband doesn't mention anything about them killing the beast, so I don't know why that's there. It's like he started talking about the plot of the movie and then deviated extremely in a way that's weird. Like if I pulled out a red pen and I was making suggestions, I would say keep on subject, because now you're talking about something else. And based on their son should rule the galaxy, I'm just going to assume that these are Conan the Barbarian's parents. I'm wrong, but not as wrong as I should be. The set design and costuming and miniatures and effects and the weapons in this movie all look great. Obviously, again, James Horner did the sound, score, so that's the best part of the movie, if I'm being honest. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I'll qualify. That's my favorite part of the movie. So we meet Princess Lisa, who's played by Lisette Anthony, who I know as playing Angelique in the 90s adaptation of Dark Shadows, as well as Lucy, I think, in Dracula's Dead and Loving It, which is an underrated Mel Brooks film. Okay, people need to get on board with Dracula's Dead and Loving It. She's waiting for her mans, Prince Colwyn, who's played by Ken Marshall, who I've never seen in anything else. And I was looking through his filmography. He wasn't in a whole lot else, which is unfortunate because he did a really good job in this. And she's speaking with her father, King Erig. I hope I'm saying that right, played by Bernard Archard. I should note that Lisette Anthony is 80-yard, and it's dumb. The voice was done by Lindsay Cruz, who is Professor Maggie Walsh from season 4 of Buffy. So obviously, we don't like that because Maggie Walsh was a jerk. Nothing against the actor, but just, I don't know why we couldn't just have a woman with a British accent doing the voice of the princess. It's dumb. It doesn't make sense. we roll our eyes. And there is a big age difference between Ken Russell and Lisette Anthony. I think he was like 31 and she was 18. And sidebar, I don't want to like just reduce people down to their appearance, but my God, she was beautiful. Like, she's so beautiful. Also, he was very beautiful. Like, I feel like they took the two most beautiful people in 1983 and put them in a movie together. Like, this is 1983's The Mummy for bisexuals. It's insane. Anyway, we're like 6 minutes in and I'm a little lost. And I'm just going to like paraphrase the conversation between King Eric and his daughter Lisette, the princess. Basically, Colin is traveling by horse with a crew of, I don't know, his army men through the fortress and the forest rather, and some stone country, because all of the roads and passes are held by the slayers, who are the enforcers of the beast. King Eric doesn't really like Colin. He sees, quote, no reason to form an alliance with their ancient enemies. I'm going to go ahead and tell you the word ancient has never been more overused than it is in this movie. Synonyms, guys. And the whole, Colin and Lysette's families being, I keep calling her Lysette, and her name is Lisa. Colin and Lisa's families being kind of at war with each other. They're ancient enemies. It's very Romeo and Juliet. Lisa argues that the invaders are destroying the world and the alliance is necessary. King Eric suggests that he makes a treaty with King Trinold, I did not pronounce that right, who's Colin's father, and he just does not want Lisa to marry Colin, and she just says that she wants to marry him and the marriage will agree in alliance. And I do love this line that King Aaron hits her with, which is, good fighters make bad husbands. Preach, brother, preach. And by the way, why this entire conversation is happening, it's totally voiceover while we're seeing images of men on horses riding around. I don't know what the horse budget was in this movie, but I'm going to say it was most of the movie. The horse riders finally arrive at the castle, and King Turnbull, who's played by Tony Church, and King Eric. I'm having a really rough time with these names. Like, while I'm watching the movie and I'm hearing them, I can say them. But now that I'm looking at them written down, I feel like I'm saying them incorrectly. That's annoying. I'm sorry. So these two kings immediately start arguing. By the way, the movie doesn't mention like who's king of, like, they don't name the lands or like what the name of their kingdoms are. You know what I mean? So King Eric is king of what? King Turnbull is king of what? Are there other kings? Are there other lands? Question mark. Nothing. No maps. Where's the world building? See what I'm saying? They could have done some more world building on Krull. So Eric states that, well, King Turnbull is like angry that he didn't send anyone to help. King Eric's like, yeah, we sent 20 men, to which Turnbull's like, we lost 300 getting here, which is extreme. All that just for a wedding. Ridiculous. I feel like that's not a good trade-off. Maybe we should have rethought this. Anyway, I think they really need to sort their, out and fight the worst bad guy. You would think that would have a better, priority, since the beast. I'll come back around to my confusion on the timeline, actually, because I did get very confused. Because it's too vague. Colin and Lisa both expressed that this is their choice to marry and that they want to marry, and it's kind of cute. Colin declares, and I think this is an important line, it's foreshadowing, whatever army I have, I'll lead against them, meaning the Slayers, until I have won or am dead. Like that. I like that. He's determined. He's young. He's brash. Go off, King. So it's the night of the wedding. Eric and Turnbull agreed that their kingdoms are no more. Now they have a single kingdom led by their children, which is like nice, I guess. And the wedding ceremony is very high fantasy. There's some stuff about some fire and some water that seems kind of cool, that I just never realized how important it was. And it's actually essential to the movie, and it's the most important part of the movie. I'm not kidding. So their wedding vows are such. Colwyn says, I give fire to water. It will not return except from the hand of the woman I choose as my wife. Lissa says, I take fire from water. I give it only to the man I choose as my husband. So he had put his hand in with a flame in the water, and she puts her, she reaches into the water and her hand holds a flame. Lisa says, I take the fire, or says to Colwyn, take the fire from my hand, and Colwyn goes to, but the Slayers interrupt the wedding, so he does not get to. More on this at the very end of the film. But again, I cannot state how important that scene is. It's the whole crux of the movie. All right, so it looks like our kingdom of Krullites or Krullian or Krull natives, whatever they're called, are fighting with like swords, like normal sword, while the Slayers have these kind of more higher tech Star Wars type pew pew weapons. Like they're staves, but the staves like were spears, but the spears pew pew, and I thought that was very cool. The Slayers, the makeup is okay, but when they're killed, boy, when I tell you, when they're killed, they're this like bloody giant slug thing crawls out of them, which doesn't even make sense. Like, where was that? Are they slug people? Are they slugs that form into people? Are there people who have been infected by slugs? What is that? Why is that? And it's blood red. Like it is insane for a PG movie, because it's PG, to have that insane level of blood red when someone is killed, like in that level of like violence. But I guess it is 1983, so this is, you know, a year before we get the PG-13 rating. It just shocketh to me, I suppose. Anyway, so fight outbreaks. Everything goes crazy. Lissa is being snuck out the back, but the Slayers attack. Wish that hadn't rhymed. King Aaron is killed. Also, King Trinault is killed. Lisa is taken. Colwyn, our swashbuckling badass, really. He's shot trying to save his beloved. And the Slayers leave with Lissa, and they take her to the Black Fortress. And I'm gonna be really honest. This is what I was talking about earlier. I don't get a good idea of how long the fortress and the beast have been on Krull, because in the opening we see it land, and there's like that montage over the opening narration, but the timeline is so confusing. It seems like I would assume it's been here for a few months, but then it seems like it's been here for a few years. But people keep talking about all this ancient stuff, and it's like, well, has it been here for decades? I don't get a sense of how long the beast has been there, and it bothers me. It bothers me so. Anyway, moving on. The next day, there was this old man who was watching the Slayers arrive at the castle in the woods, and he waits for them to leave, and then goes to the castle and finds a castle full of dead bodies, which is really traumatic, you would think. He takes the necklace off of King Trinault's body and treats Colwyn, who's still alive. He's the only one alive. Singular one human being alive. Aren't we lucky? King Colwyn. Colwyn wakes up pretty violently and understandably asks for Lissa, and then asks who the old man is. And when I originally watched this is where I was taking a lot of leaps in logic, because it makes sense the further we get into the movie, while it seems like there was something deeper there. So I thought it might be him, Colwyn, from the future, or it might be his and Lissa's son from the future, or Colwyn from an alternate reality, something. I just thought there had to be something more than he's just an old man who showed up and had all the knowledge and knew all the things and could help with all of the things. It was too easy. It's just too easy. But apparently that is, yes, what's going on. So his name is Einir. He's played by Freddie Jones. Sadly, he's not wearing an ascot, which I got to say is very disappointing. And Colwyn identifies him very uniquely as the old man. which is a little lazy, but whatever. He's not even that old. Whatever, it's fine. And at first I was thinking that this was about to be very Luke Skywalker post the loss of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. Like, loss? What loss? Grief? We don't know grief. We know these things not. Because Colwyn is in the castle surrounded by dead bodies post night of his wedding, ruined wedding, and he's cool as a cucumber until Einir gives him his father's necklace, and then the loss hits him, and this man sobs. And I mean, like, full body sobs. Like, he has feelings, and I adore that. I absolutely love that. Also, this man is shredded. There is not an ounce of fat on this dude's body. So when he's like convulsing in tears, every single ab is visible. Oh, because he's not wearing a shirt, by the way. Yeah, they said, let's get this man in the tightest black pants possible and no shirt. And boy, did they. Einir tells him there's no time for grief, to which Colwyn responds, you haven't lost a father and a bride on the same day. And that's a lot. And I like that they interact with that loss. Writers stares at Star Wars and derogatory. I like Star Wars. That's just always bothered me. If you're gonna have a moment that extreme, then you need to have that reaction to the loss. Like, Luke Skywalker seems like a freaking psycho in that first movie. He did not care about his aunt and uncle at all. So Colwyn's still crying, and I love it for him. He screams, I have no kingdom. And like, kind of he doesn't, because he was alive at this point. Again, we don't get a sense of what the kingdoms are, like how many people live there, who he rules over, because we don't have any maps. We get no sense of any of this. Blah. World building, guys. Give me a map. And yeah, anyway, so Einir is like really mean. He's like, I came to find a king, and I find a boy instead. Like, shit, man, sorry. He's having the worst day of his life. He needs a 10. Damn. And aren't old people supposed to be more patient? Colwyn asks about Lyssa. He's informed that she's in the Black Fortress. Colwyn asks Einir if he can take him there. And thus our campaign begins. And we'll be collecting our party as we go. Because remember, this is just an episode of D&D. Is episode the right word? I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to stand by it. It's wrong. It sounded wrong as I said it. A game of D&D that's been turned into a movie. Okay. Einir explains that in the Black Fortress, he'll face more than the Slayers. He'll face the Beast, which no man has ever faced and lived. Again, how long has the Beast been there? I need to know. To fight the Beast, he'll need the glaive. We're putting a lot of emphasis on the glaive. The glaive is probably what the one thing people know about this movie. It's that like 5-pointed, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a circular, but it's like a star. But if a star was made of paint and then you kind of ran your fingers through it in a circle, I'm not describing this well at all. Maybe just look it up. It's like a 5-pointed star, but it's swirled. So the blades are curved. Did that make more sense? Maybe just look it up. I'm not good. Oh my god, this is a tragedy. I should have thought about how to explain this beforehand. Shoot. So anyway, tralala. Einir, I really feel like we really needed to know when the Beast showed up. How long has it been? What's happened? Backstory. All right. So Colwyn believes, and I'm paraphrasing, that the glaive is nothing more than an ancient, there's that word again, symbol that doesn't exist. But like if the glaive is the weapon that can defeat the Beast, what is the glaive? Why is it on Krull? What's its history? How long has the Beast been on Krull? What is the lore here? Or is it just a weapon that is just like really powerful, so they assume because it's so powerful it can defeat the Beast? Question mark. Or is it like there's a prophecy, because it seems like there's a lot of prophecies here, that the glaive will defeat the Beast, in which case, why did the Beast go to Krull if he knows the thing that can lead to his demise is there? question marks all around. We'll keep going. Forging on. Einir assures Colin that the glaive exists because Einir knows everything. I'm not kidding. And exists in a cave on the mountaintop. And the location is stunning. I looked it up. It says it was filmed in Italy. I did not know Italy had landscaping like that. It's just so beautiful. So we have this thin blonde man in the tightest black leather pants scaling a mountain to a James Horner score. And that was a choice. I'm going to say it was a good choice. We'll move on. Colin gets into the cave and we're treated to some fantastic, like saturated red lighting. It is gorgeous. He reaches his hand into this red liquid. I'm assuming we're supposed to infer that the red liquid is very hot. And he just reaches in and gets the glaive, and it's super easy. It's not even anything. The only task was scaling the mountainside. I don't know what the point of making it so easy was. It's kind of silly, but visually stunning. So again, sometimes things exist in movies because they look cool, and that's the only reason. The glaive is released, and it's shiny and pointy and awesome. I will say I don't think it's an effective weapon, but visually, again, because sometimes things are in movies just because they look cool, it does look cool. Like, it's a cool looking weapon. It's unique, and I like the name the glaive. So we'll move on. At this point, I get so confused, but in a cool, okay. So we see a close up of an eye, but then we realize it's a room designed to look like an eye, and throughout the movie we see a lot of this, which kind of implies that the meteor is the beast. Like, it even has like organs and like veins and stuff, and a lot of eye stuff. It's either that the meteor, the Black Fortress, is alive, or the Black Fortress is the beast, or the beast had the highest interior designer in the galaxy. The beast went and got Alejandro Jodorowsky and said, design me a ship and make it weird. Whatever it is cool looking and kind of freaky and unsettling. It's deeply unsettling. And so 10 out of 10 on design. Like, I didn't look up who did the design, but it is cool looking. It's confusing because I don't know I don't know why, but it doesn't matter because it's cool. So anyway, Lissa is there, and we hear the voice of the disembodied voice of the beast saying this: "You have been brought here for marriage. I will give you jewels." I have a lot of follow-up questions to this. I have a follow-up question to this. Why? Why does the beast want to marry Lissa? I have a theory, but we'll wait to the end. Okay, so back to Einir and Colwyn. So Einir keeps yelling at poor Colwyn to essentially put this cocky little kid in his place. And by cocky little kid, I mean 30-something-year-old man. He does seem very young, and he is very cocky. So I don't know. It's funny. I do feel a little bad for Colwyn because, like, he is this brash guy, but he got saddled with like the responsibility of an entire world overnight, and so much loss and grief and responsibility. But also, here's the thing: Einir is yelling at him for using the glaive, but it's like, shouldn't he practice? Like, wouldn't it be better to have some experience with using the glaive before he fights the beast? Side note, important to note, the glaive is like a magic, and he has like a telekinetic thing with it, link. Like, he can move it with his mind. That's, I think, important to know. I don't know if he can move anything else with his mind. That would have been good to know. Or, yeah, anything else. But we'll move on. So Einir informs Colwyn that to find the Black Fortress, they need to seek the vision of the blind Emerald Seer because the Black Fortress moves. So they ride a day's journey to the Black Emerald Seer. The scenery is stunning, and it's all set, so you can definitely tell it's sets. at this point. And I beautiful, absolutely gorgeous set design. We do get a lot of implied backstory on Einir, and the actor is playing this like wizened old man really well. He really feels like a guy who is at the end of his life looking back with regret, and he has the chance to do one last good thing. And that to me really comes across in his performance. So 10 out of 10 for a character there. And between Colwyn and Einir, we get this huge generational gap in knowledge that I think is really interesting. Like Colwyn keeps thinking these things that he's saying and mentioning, like the weapons and people are myths, but Einir knows them all specifically and personally, which makes me wonder what has happened on Krull in these, I don't know, approximately 3 generations to make the realities turn into myths so quickly. And was that the beast? And how long has the beast been on Krull? Damn it. Tell me. We get more journeying through more great landscape shots. Again, I think a lot of these are in Italy, and some matte paintings, and some, again, astonishing sets. Also, then we get to this like little waterfall. It's a set. It's really pretty. I like it. And then what the fuck just happens? There's this like red ball of fire that lands in a pool of water. And Einir and Colwyn are sitting there, and it like pops out. And this very like loud, wild man stands up and starts complaining immediately. And I love him. He's a wizard aspiring. Ergo the Magnificent, played by David Batley. And he pronounces himself, and I'm quoting, short in stature, tall in power, narrow of purpose, and wide of vision. What an entrance. I love this man. He kind of reminds me, this is so specific. If you didn't watch Highlander the series, you're not going to get it. But he reminds me of Hugo Fitzcairn, played by the lead singer of The Who, Roger Daltrey, played by Roger Daltrey in Highlander the series. It's very, very whimsical. Anyway, so he's going to be the first member of our party. Then we're seeing more barren landscapes, and then back to the Eye Room in the Black Fortress, and the Beast is talking. The disembodied voice of the Beast is talking to Lissa again. He wants to make her his queen. So yeah, I'll come back around to this because when we talk about the wedding vows, because I'm a little confused on why. That's it. Why? The whole like motivation of the plot is the princess is kidnapped, so the prince has to go get her. Which I don't generally like that plot. It's very misogynist. It's kind of a fridging thing. But like usually we have a better idea or understanding of why, we understand why Bowser kidnaps Princess Peach, right? Like we know why the dragon takes, I don't know if the dragon has a name, takes Princess Daphne and Dragon's Lair. Like usually we have a little bit of an understanding of what the reasoning was. But here, no, nothing. Like if he wants to marry her, it's a very specific thing. But for why though? So anyway, our party of 3 comes to a rocky place. Again, it's a great design. And oh no, they're attacked by the locals. 9 escaped prisoners. I did my best with people's names and the actors and kind of who they are. So we have Torquil, played by Alan Armstrong, who's the leader. We know that he has sons, though we don't meet them. And I absolutely love this character so much. Then we have Keegan, played by Liam Neeson, and he has a number of wives. We do meet one of them. The boy, Oswin, played by Todd Cardy. Rune, played by Robbie Coltrane. That's right, Hagrid himself. He grumbles a lot to himself, and he is also ADR, which was a weird choice. Menno, played by Bill Weston. He's the brunette who dies in the quicksand. Spoilers for that scene that's about to happen. Bardolph, played by Dickon Ashworth. He's the blonde who's wearing a red shirt. I tried my best, but there was a couple of people I had to look up on the fandom Wikipedia, and I'm just kind of guessing. We have Darrow, Quain, and Nenog. Nenog is the brunette wearing the furry outfit. That sounds weird if you don't have a visual in front of you, but he has like furs on. So those are the escaped prisoners. I really did my best. That took so much work to get their names. Colwyn tries to recruit them to the party. Torquil says, "These men follow no man but me, and I follow no man at all." Colwyn replies, "Would you follow a king to the Black Fortress?" He gets laughed at, which is fair. And he says to fight for freedom and fame, that would be their payment. Torquil has a great line. I love this. "Freedom, we have it. Fame, that's an empty purse. Count it, you'll go broke. Eat it, you'll go hungry. Seek it, you'll go mad." Way to go, Torquil. And I gotta say, Einir is way better at swaying people, and Torquil listens to him. The boy, Oswin, volunteers, and Colwyn pulls out a key from his necklace that unlocks the boy's manacles, because as I said, they were prisoners, so they all have manacles, but the chain that links the manacles, they've cut, but they still have like the manacles attached to their wrists. So that gets Torquil's attention, the fact that he has the key, because only the king and the Lord Marshal have the key. And so at that point, he does believe that Colwyn is now the king. And Torquil has this great quote. And Colwyn when Colwyn throws in the key to unlock the manacles, Torquil doesn't. And he says, "If we succeed, unlock them. Otherwise, I'll die with them." And thus the 9 men now join Colwyn's campaign, which 9 plus 3, so it's 12. The math impaired. And we have our little army now, which goes back to that line that he said towards the beginning, that he said, "With whatever army I'll have, I'll fight the beast until I've won or die," which I like. Army might be doing some heavy lifting, the word there, but it's a good campaign. They get the job done. Okay. We also meet a Cyclops that's following them called Krull. He's played by Bernard Bressel, who is 6'7", so a little tall. And he's kind of watching them from afar. I know some people kind of comment negatively about the makeup. For me, I would say the makeup, it's obviously makeup, but the fact that we have a working eye that looks pretty realistic and blinking and stuff, and he can have facial features, was pretty good. I give it a pass. I like it. I mean, you can tell it's makeup, but it doesn't look real, but it looks very effective and workable. It's pretty cool, I think. Einir tells them the backstory in the Cyclops. The Cyclops and the Slayers have an ancient, Jesus, there's that word again, have an ancient hatred between them. Long ago, his ancestors live in a world far from Krull. So it's a very long story, very Greek, Cassandra, be careful what you wish for, and making a deal with people. The Cyclopses essentially made a deal with the beast and were betrayed. They can see the future, but they can only very specifically see their own deaths, which, yikes. And I cannot understate how often the term ancient is used. It's like Michael in The Lost Boys, but every scene the word ancient is used. And this also brings up a question: is how did the Cyclops get to Krull? Because he had to have traveled through space to get there, because he's an alien on their planet. And how old is he? And how long has the beast been on Krull? I need answers. And how does Einir know all this? It's fine. I'm annoyed, but it's fine. We'll move on. So 4 members of the party split off to do a side expedition. We have Einir, Colwyn, Torquil, and Ergo the Magnificent. They are allowed interest through a rock via a green light, which is kind of cool. And there we meet the blind Emerald Seer. It's really given Oz if the Wizard of Oz actually has power. So the blind Emerald Seer is played by John Welsh, who tells them the location of the Black Fortress, because Einir mentioned earlier it moves and he is able to see. However, things go amok, and the beast is able to sever the psychic link, so he wasn't able to tell them officially where the Black Fortress will be, unfortunately. So there's only one place that the beast power cannot reach. So they need to take the blind emerald seer to the Emerald Temple. They have to transport him, which made me just start singing One Short Day to the Emerald Temple. For those Wicked fans out there, I think it works. None of this is green except his outfit, by the way, which is a little disappointing to me. And the temple is in a swamp, which smells of death, so that's probably nice. And surely nothing bad or murdery will happen in this swamp. Surely not. The music got intense though, so I'm assuming actually something very bad will happen. And oh no, what's this? The Slayer show up in the swamp and attack? Who could have foreseen something bad happening in a swamp that smells like death? So much fighting happens, and our party works together to defeat them. I did forget to mention that the blind emerald seer has like a little helper boy who works for him, Titch, who's played by Graham McGrath. He's probably like, I don't know, under 12 years old. He's a child. He's like a little boy. Terrible haircut, but you know, cute little boy. And he goes along with them as well and becomes very good friends with Ergo the Magnificent, which is kind of endearing. And Rel, the Cyclops, ends up saving Ergo and Titch from the Slayers, and he joins up with the party as well. He's also my favorite. He's very cool. Cut to Lisa running around the fortress slash the beast's body. I don't know. Is that like what would it be like to be a living house? He's a living spaceship. Weird. Anyway, it does look very cool, but nothing happens in the scene other than her running around. Cut back to the company lands in quicksand because it's an 80s movie, and that was a legal requirement, I assume. And Menno dies. R.I.P. Menno. It's actually very intense and sad. It's not quite Artax, but it is pretty sad. So R.I.P. Menno. Seriously, R.I.P. And suddenly there's two blind emerald seers, except one's an imposter who has solid black eyes, and he kills the real one. It's actually really cool because the actor playing the blind emerald seer has white hair, and he's very pale. And the pure black eyes, we're talking like Willow in Buffy season 6, black eyes, against, like, juxtaposing against his natural very pale skin and white hair, is really, really stunning and creepy looking. It's such a simple thing, but it looks so good. It looks so good. Einir doesn't realize the blind emerald seer has been killed and replaced, and he's leading him on to the Emerald Temple. Torquil leads them all on, and we're going through, and it's Rel the Cyclops stayed behind to kind of watch out from the back, and sees, I didn't really understand this part. The quicksand spit out the blind emerald seer's dead body. Does quicksand, does it release the dead bodies? Question mark. You know, we never stayed in the quicksand after, on rare occasions, it actually killed someone. And it really did. Most people survived quicksands, but when someone in an 80s movie did die in a quicksand, we usually weren't sticking around. Did they float back up? What is quicksands? We'll move on. Cohen leads the foe blind emerald seer to these 3 trees that are apparently the Emerald Temple. The Emerald Temple's 3 trees. I was a little confused by that. Meanwhile, Rel the Cyclops is hauling his 6'7" ass across the swamp to save Cohen, and he gets there just in time because he is the hero of the party. I cannot understate that enough. I mean, this man ran through sand. That's power. And poor Titch, he basically just became an orphan, and he gets adopted by the party. Ah, poor little boy. So now, how are they going to find the Black Fortress? So Einir has a second way to do this, and that's through the Widow of the Web, but only he can go and see her. The Widow of the Web is played by Francesca Annis, who is Lady Jessica in Dune. I don't really know anything else she's been in. Also, she's Einir's ex-wife. Wow. Okay. So while they're journeying to get there, Ergo the Magnificent transforms into a puppy for Titch because earlier Titch said that if he could have one wish, he'd wish for a puppy, and it's so sweet, and I love their friendship. It's adorable. Einir goes to see the Widow of the Web. Everyone else stays behind. Well, okay, they go to see Keegan, one of Keegan's 7 or 8 wives, Meredith. It's really getting to like the point in the Greek mythology story where the women poison them. It's not an important scene. I'm just going to skip it. I don't care. So we'll cut back to Alyssa running around the Black Fortress. Did she sleep? How long has she been there? And she's never changes out of the wedding dress. And we know the fortress is moving, right? That's why they need to find it. But like, yeah, I don't know. I just have a lot of questions. Like, does she know it's moving? Can she not find a way out? There are no windows because it is a spaceship / living being. Question marks. So many question marks. Could she not just poke his eye out? I don't know. I just have questions. Nothing but questions. No answers. So the beast said, love is fleeting, power is eternal. Lisa counters. Uno reverse, bitch. Power is fleeting. It's love that is eternal. I still don't know why he wants to marry her. And I'll never learn. He comes to her in the form of Colwyn with all black eyes, and the beast says that he can assume any form he wishes. The beast shows her Colwyn with the women who now also have black eyes. I don't understand. Can he mind control people, or have they pledged allegiance to him, or do they have slugs in them like the Slayers? Many questions, no answers. Again, the beast, I think he was trying to show her that like Colwyn's moved on, but like she can see that these women are possessed, or followers of him, or slug people. Who knows? I don't. The beast offers Lisa a choice. Consider this power. If you consent to be my queen, I will halt the attacks of the Slayers. It is in your power to stop the killing and burnings. Each hour you delay, more innocent people will be killed. Dastardly. Doesn't seem to affect her, and we move on and cut back to Einir at the Widow of the Web's cave. It is a phenomenal design. It is so stunning looking. We have this all of this spider webs leading to a big like room in the middle, and this giant white spider that's kind of, it's a miniature. Like I've seen pictures, you can find them on IMDb, and it looks like it's made of like crystal or glass. It's probably not, but it's just like visually that's what it looks like. It's so pretty. I definitely recommend looking up like pictures. Oh, I should have looked up who designed it. Oh man. But it's a really great design. Maybe not suitable for those with arachnophobia, oddly enough. So the Widow of the Web's name is Lissa because it's an ancient name. Is she ancient? I don't know. I'm confused again. Same as the queens. And this is one of the reasons that I thought Einir might be Coleman from the future or an alternate reality, because his ex-wife's name is also Lissa, and I thought that maybe they were the same person. They were like Lissa was the same Lissa, but older or something. I don't know. It's all very confusing. Lissa and Einir were married, and they had a son. And at this point, we're treated to the wildest revelation. Lissa tells Einir that they had a son, and she killed him when he was born. Since I could not kill you, my rage needed a victim. This is my punishment. I know you could never forgive me. And Einir responds actually very reasonably. I cannot forgive myself. I have already forgiven you. It's very deep, very powerful in a movie that honestly is not deep. It's as shallow as it gets. It's just, this looked cool. Let's do it. That was a very poignant moment. So long story short, Einir learns that the Black Fortress will rise tomorrow in the Iron Desert. Again, I wish we had maps. And I do wish that because we do see the outside of the Black Fortress showing up in different places. I wish they'd thought to put labels like Iron Desert, Emerald Land, Forest of Blank, whatever, something to tell us that it's at a new location. Because the first time I watched it, I thought, this is so dumb, idiot little high schooler I was, I thought that it was showing a passage of time. And it wasn't until this point in the movie we're like, oh, it's not passage of time. It's literally different location. So it just would have benefited from like labeling the locations. Anyways, I need deep breath to explain the next part. Actually, it's very complicated. All right, Lisa has this like hourglass thing, and she takes the sands of time to give it to Einir because it'll keep the spider away from him while he gets out of the cave. But in doing that, she's killing herself and him because you can't stop the sand of time. So they're both sacrificing themselves to save Lissa Coleman and defeat the beast. Making a very long story short. And it's cool looking. The sand of time is red. It's pretty. Einir runs down screaming that the Black Fortress will be in the Iron Desert at dawn. And he's holding the sand that's falling out of his hand and dies just in time to get to the party and have a few parting words, such as use your power wisely, don't squander it. And Colwyn replies, I learned the power from you. I won't forget. I didn't see him learning any power from Einir, but nice thing to say. But we have a problem now that Einir is dead. We have a problem. The Iron Desert is 1,000 leagues from here. Is a league a measurement? Is that like am I a dumb American and just don't know how far a league is? I could look it up, but I'm not going to. But we have a solution. Fire mares can travel 1,000 leagues in a day. So, oh yeah, baby. The horses that run fast, they leave a fiery footprint. Hoofprint. And then we get that horse budget's coming back, baby. We're gonna go capture some big horsies. I'm sure this is a specific type of horse. I don't know what it is. They're big and kind of extra furry looking. They're pretty. And it's a funny scene. We go back to the Black Fortress. And this time it's more obvious it's moving. I still would have liked if they labeled the locations. So our party gets the fire mares. I don't know. I don't like this part. Rel, the Cyclops, gives Titch to Keegan. And Rel says that he has to stay. To which Titch says to each his fate. But it's dumb because he doesn't stay. He goes and follows them later. So it's like, why not cut out that whole thing and just have him follow them? I don't know. It's dumb. Anyway, Ergo the Magnificent is really sad to see Rel go and states we had no time. And I really love the friendship between Rel, Ergo the Magnificent, and Titch. It's really quite lovely. And the idea that, you forge a friendship due to this adversity, and then the person passes and saying we had no time, together to really build this friendship to something longer, to really be together other than the short time that we were battling. It's really, again, poignant. I thought it was a really, really great moment, a really great line in this otherwise pretty shallow film. And for such a big cast, I really feel like we do get very unique characters that you really get to know and care about, which is cool, other than a few of the prisoners who I'm just going to say were basically red shirts. The effects for the fire mares are definitely just back screen, back projection, rear projection. It's not great, but it works well enough. And it doesn't last for very long. And we get to the Black Fortress, and we get inside just before the twin suns rise, which again, we are doing no homage or referencing nothing with the twin suns. We move on. The Slayer shows up in battle. Rel the Cyclops shows up. Again, I think he should have just went with them to begin with. That there was no point in having him stay behind if he was just going to show up. And he gets crushed by a door, which is insane. Like he holds a door open so they can all get in, and then is crushed. And Torkel doesn't want to leave him, and he stays with him to the end. And it's sad. You don't want to. That's a terrible way to die, and you certainly don't want to see it. Someone is shot and killed, and then the twin sunrise and the Black Fortress moves with everyone inside. And then someone is shot dead on the bridge too. Again, these are probably some of the prisoners whose names I really worked hard to find. Then Keegan is shot. Again, he's Liam Neeson. He dies, and that's sad. Torkel and Titch take his death very hard. But there's really no time to despair. Colwyn leads on. Titch and Ergo fall down a shaft, and the Slayers are after them. Ergo the Magnificent shapeshifts into a tiger, a little tiger on set. Mauls the Slayer, which seems way too easy, but it is a big kitty, so you believe it. And he gets shot, and he sits down, and clearly this tiger was, I'm assuming, given a lot of tranquilizers to sleep, and they have this little, like, I don't know, 10, 12-year-old boy sitting on set with a tranked up tiger. Wow, that would not happen today. Woo! I wonder if that was like cool for that kid. I don't know, or scary. It's an insane thing to see. Colin goes the rest of the way alone. He uses the glaive. Now, does the glaive make sense as a weapon? No, but again, it looks cool, so I'm here for it. The green screen's a bit visible, but yeah, it's whatever. And it's cutting a hole in a wall to get to Lissa on the other side. Oswin, meanwhile, and Torquil fall through a wall, and they meet up with Bardolph, and Bardolph dies in what I'm going to say was a very avoidable death. We have spikes coming through the walls, and they're not close enough. Like, you could easily just, like, maneuver your body around them and not be impaled. So this is the only time where I will say visually they done goofed on this one a bit, but oh well, that's unfortunate. Lissa and Colwyn meet up, and Lissa tells Colwyn he must fight the beast away from the center because of the center of the Black Fortress. She's too powerful. Again, it's very confusing. Cohen does something with the glaive that causes a lot of structural damage, and yeah. Could we not have been using the glaive more? I feel like Cohen could have been using the glaive more, and helped out a lot more throughout the trip. Anyway, whatever. The beast shows up, and I'm gonna go ahead and say, what is that? It is this giant puppet. It looks good, but it's this giant puppet thing. I just don't know what we're doing. Like, so the beast does have a body. So then what is the Black Fortress? Why is it alive? I'm just confused. I don't know. Or is this then? So we have the beast, which is a kaiju. It's a kaiju. So the kaiju beast and Colwyn battle. And Colwyn hurts him pretty badly with the glaive. And the glaive ends up remaining embedded in the beast's body despite Colwyn's telekinetic efforts. So Colwyn walks up closer to pull the glaive out, but oh no, the kaiju beast is still alive. Bum, bum, bum. And it's not looking good for Colwyn. It's also not looking good for Oswin and Torquil. Colwyn loses the glaive, and then Colwyn and Lissa do some love shit that turns Colwyn into a fire starter. So they finish their wedding vows. And when they finish their wedding vows, which I'll go back up and tell you what they were, which is like, I give fire to water and it won't return except from the hand of the woman I choose as my wife. I take fire from water and I give it only to the man I choose as my husband. And then take the fire from my hand. And then Colwyn, now at this point, at the end of the movie, takes the fire from her hand, and he's now a fire starter. I'm not exaggerating at this point. And with the fire, he's able to kill the beast. So all anyone apparently had to do this whole time was set the beast on fire. And why was the glaive even important? It wasn't. The glaive didn't kill him at all. He didn't need the glaive at any point. What? What? Okay. I'll come back around when I get to the end to explain what I think this was about. Then Oswin and Torquil are saved from the wall spikes are retracted, but the Black Fortress starts falling apart again because it is the beast ? It's powered by the beast. It's the pet of, I don't know. It starts falling apart. The gang finds Titch and Ergo, and they all flock out of the crumbling Black Fortress. Colwyn uses fire to open the door, because sure, why not? And I'm so lost. Was he always a fire starter? Was Lissa a fire starter? Did love make him a fire starter? Did she have powers? Whatever. Could she not have done this the whole time she was trapped? Okay. We'll move on. The Black Fortress starts crumbling for reasons, because it looks cool, I guess, whatever. Colwyn, Lissa, Torquil, Titch, Oswin, and Ergo the Magnificent are our survivors, and they watch from the grass somewhere, wherever the Black Fortress had transported them to. Colwyn gives Torquil the keys to the manacles to keep, implying that Torquil will now be his Lord Marshal. I don't know what a Lord Marshal is, but I guess that's cool. And then the narrator says, a girl of ancient name shall become queen, and she shall choose a king, and together they shall rule the world, and their son shall rule the galaxy. The end. Like, again, so that's the end of their narration at the beginning that had nothing to do with them defeating the beast. Okay. So sidebar, I watched this movie called Rawhead Rex. It's an 80s horror movie. It's based on a story written by Clive Barker. I won't, well, okay, kind of spoiling, but not really. Basically, the movie is about a phallic monster that's going around assaulting women and killing men, and he is defeated by yonic imagery. And that's what led me to click with this movie, is that the beast is this evil being, and he is defeated by marital vows. Essentially, he's defeated by a proclamation of love. Their marital vows were about fire, which is weird because I don't necessarily really associate fire with love, but I guess passion. I don't know. But by her choosing him as her king, she empowered him with pyrokinesis. And with that, because of that, he was able to defeat the beast. He would not have ever been able to defeat the beast if they did not get married. So their marriage was essential, which then brings it back to, did the beast know that? And that's why he interrupted their wedding and stole her so that he would marry her, because he wanted the power of the fire. This seems like a more interesting story, and it does seem like it's there. If you pick it apart, you could find it, but it's not like in textual evidence. I just kind of wish it was, because that would have been more interesting. Again, I like world building. From a modern audience standpoint, I think if this movie was being made today, it would have had a lot more world building and been a lot more specific with a lot of this stuff that unfortunately just wasn't. It's a fun movie. I can't understate how much I do love it. The score is fantastic. The set design and creature designs, I think, are really great. It's a fun fantasy adventure film from the 80s, and I do absolutely recommend it. Ultimately, I just wish it made a little more sense, I guess. But yeah, that's really all I had to say about that. Thank you so much for listening. And if you'll excuse me, I have some oozing to do. Stay with the rainbows.